Welcome to Healthy Knees for You, episode number 2. And today's topic is a little bit about knee anatomy and some of the likely causes of knee pain. My name is Robin Robertson. I'm the founder of Healthy Knees Coach, author of 3 Healthy Knees books, and I'm here to bring you the secrets, the steps, and the savvy so that you can have healthier and happier knees. In today's episode, we'll be talking about knee anatomy, how the knee works, likely causes of knee pain, and why excess weight can exacerbate your pain. Okay, so in our Healthy Knees Formula program, we introduce knee anatomy as well so that you understand why we're doing the things that we're doing there in order to help you get stronger, more stable, soothe your knees, and get stronger so that you can get back to doing the things that you love. Well, many people don't understand how the knee works, and knowing a little bit about knee anatomy is going to help you make better choices along the way for when your knee is not feeling so good and when you want to hold back or go ahead and push through it. Now, I've had plenty of physical therapists in my own life with my knees, and I've even had some physical therapists, after going through my workshops, tell me that they are so happy I explained it this way. And if someone would have explained it to them the same way, then they would have had a much better understanding of how the knee works. Because when you know how your knee works, you'll be able to take better care of it. I've got a little slideshow for you today, so let's go right over to that. Okay, here we are, how your knee works and the likely causes of knee pain. So let's take a look at the knee, and we are looking at the front of a right knee minus the kneecap. The kneecap is not shown here. And we know it's a right knee because of the placement of the 2 lower bones. So your knee is made up of bones, ligaments, and ligaments are the tough connective tissue that holds bones to bones, cartilage, which is like the cushion between your bones, and then muscles to make your bones move. The bones of the leg are made up of your femur, your thigh bone. That's the largest bone in your entire body, and it starts up at your hip joint and ends at the knee joint. Then your lower leg is made up of 2 bones, the fibula and tibia. Tibia is the largest bone, fibula is the one on the smallest one. And if you right now are sitting down, put your hand on your knee and reach around to the outside, and you'll feel a little knob right on the outside of your knee, and that is the top of the fibula bone. Okay, and then reach over the top of your knee, slide it past the kneecap, and feel that lump in the front of your tibia, your lower leg bone, and that is called your tibial tuberosity. It just means it's a lump on the bone, and that is where your quadricep muscles attach. Okay, we'll get to the muscles in just a bit. So holding the bones together are the collateral ligaments on the outsides, and that gives you lateral stability, side to side. And then inside your knee, you have the cruciate ligaments, called cruciate because they cross. The one in the front is the anterior cruciate ligament, or ACL. You've probably heard of that. And the one in the back is the posterior cruciate ligament, or PCL. And that gives your knee that forward and backward stability. Okay, the cartilage is like the cushions for your joint. The meniscus cartilage is the biggest cartilage there, protecting the top of the tibia and protecting the end of the femur. But also protecting the femur is the articular cartilage. And that's like a shrink wrap of cartilage over the end of your bone. All right, and then your joint wouldn't do a single thing if it didn't have muscles to make them move. Muscles are like the pulleys on your joints. Your quadricep muscles, go ahead and put your hand on your leg and straighten out the leg and feel those muscles contract. They'll tighten. So your quadricep muscles, the ones on the front of your leg, are responsible for straightening out your leg, and your hamstring muscles are the ones that bend your knee. So with those two, those are the major movers of the knee. All right, and then tendons, of course, connect muscle to bone. Before we move on, I want to show you my knee model. I'll just grab it from my shelf because I'm sure your knee model is close by, but mine's right here. And so I want to share with you a little interesting information about the patella. So we're looking at the front of the knee. Here is the quadricep, the four muscles of your thigh bone coming together in a tendon that wraps over the knee and connects down here to that tibial tuberosity, that bump on the front of your shin bone, your tibia. Inside of that tendon is your kneecap. And the kneecap is called a sesamoid bone, which means that it grows out of irritation. So it's not unusual. Well, it might be unusual, but it is not all people have a kneecap, is what I'm trying to say. So it grows out of irritation, it's embedded in the tendon, and it lives right here and slides up and down your knee. Inside your knee, so let's just move that tendon out of the way, you can see the meniscus cartilage. That's these big rims here of this nice, healthy looking cartilage. Here's the ACL and the PCL behind it. And we've got those collateral ligaments on the sides. Okay, so there is another right knee for you. Now next, I want to say that your knee is not just about your knee, and that's because it's about the whole kinetic chain. In our next video, we're going to be talking about this kinetic chain, but the basics I want you to understand right now is that if something along the chain, meaning from your core to your feet, is out of alignment, or you have a muscle weakness, that can cause pain in different parts along the chain. So your knee pain might be because of a problem in your knee, but it also might be because of a problem in your hip, your low back, or your ankle on either side of your body. So when figuring out what the cause of your knee pain is, your doctor is probably going to be looking at that whole kinetic chain to make sure that something isn't out of balance. Or maybe you have a very tight muscle or a weak muscle. That can cause knee pain as well. For instance, when before I had my knee replaced, my knee was very knock-kneed, and that caused stress in my hip and my lower back. So not only did I have the knee pain, but I also had hip and low back pain. Now, I could have had a weakness in my hip or in low back to cause a malalignment that would affect my knee. Same thing when you look at our picture of our skeleton here. If, say, your ankle is rolling in, that's going to affect your lower leg and how it connects into the knee joint. So sleuthing actual knee problem needs to look at the entire kinetic chain. We are going to talk a lot about that chain in future videos. Okay, so let's talk about pain. Osteoarthritis is the #1 joint disease, and it affects all parts of the knee. And what happens is you have degeneration of your meniscal cartilage, whether it is the meniscus or the shrink wrap, that articular cartilage. And when the cartilage on both parts wears through, that's when the doctors will say you're bone on bone. So your articular cartilage is no longer protecting the end of your femur. Your meniscal cartilage is worn away or torn away or gone, and then you've got bone hitting bone. And that's not good, because what happens then is you have an inflammatory response. Your joint tissues, so your knee is encapsulated by the joint capsule, and those tissues get thicker around your knee, so your knee will start to look bigger. When you see an arthritic joint, that's part of what's happening. There's swelling going on, the tissues get thicker, and then your body is trying to heal itself and will grow bone spurs. So bone growing in places that bone isn't really meant to grow. And sometimes those bone spurs can get in the way of the mechanics of the joint. That happened to me several times along my path before I had my knee replaced. I was fortunate enough that I was still very active. My doctor was willing to go in and shave down the bone spurs that were affecting the mechanics of my knee so that I could function for a while longer before having to have my knee replaced. All of that ends up with pain. All right, what other kinds of knee pains are? Well, maybe you have damage to cartilage or ligaments. Usually damage to cartilage or ligaments comes with some sort of traumatic event, maybe a misstep, a car wreck, a sports injury, and sometimes cartilage just gets worn away with time, depending on how rough you've been with your knees over the years. You might have a muscle weakness or imbalance somewhere along that kinetic chain. It doesn't necessarily have to be the quadricep muscles and the hamstrings, the prime movers of the knee, but it may be rooted back in your glute muscles, which are your prime movers of your hip, or your adductors or abductors, the inner and outer leg muscles. Or it could even be muscle weakness in your calf and your ankles. And then there's bursitis. I didn't really talk about this as a feature of the knee, but it's there. So bursas are like little fluid-filled pillows that are between tendon and bone and ligaments and bone to help reduce abrasion between the ligaments and tendons and bone. When a bursa becomes inflamed, that's itis, bursitis, then it's really painful. And sometimes you can have a condition called a Baker's cyst. Not really a cyst, it's actually a bursa at the back of your knee that fills up with fluid, and you get to have a large bulge at the back of your knee. And sometimes a doctor will drain that, sometimes it goes away on its own, and those bursa can actually burst. I have had that happen too. Not very comfortable. You get the drainage of the fluid through and around your calf, and it causes pain for quite a while. So the bursa we love because they are protecting your ligaments and your tendons. When you have that Baker's cyst, it's often because you've got some other thing going on in your knee that's causing excess fluid or swelling, and the bursa in the back of the knee for the Baker's cyst is actually like the extra tank. So when the knee gets too filled up, that bursa in the back of your knee may fill up as well. And last but not least, maybe you have a bone break or a dislocation of the knee. Of course, that's going to be painful. All right, and then the third point that I wanted to make today was about body weight and your knees. So if you have any painful condition in your knee, if you are carrying extra body weight, it's going to exacerbate that condition. And here's why. Just think of this. When you are walking, 2 to 3 times your body weight is amplified through the force in your joint. So if you're carrying an extra 50 pounds, that's an extra 100 to 150 pounds of pressure inside your knee. If you're running, that's 5 to 8 times, and jumping is 9 or more times the pressure. So staying a healthy weight is really important for your knee joints and your hip joints, because when you are weight bearing, meaning you're standing up, your body weight is translated through joint forces and amplified every step you take. So I encourage you to shed weight if you are carrying extra pounds, if you want to reduce your knee pain. Okay, and there you have it. a little knee anatomy, a little bit about the likely causes of knee pain, and a little bit about why your weight really does matter for your joints. And I really want to help you get out of the spiral of knee pain, start becoming active again, get stronger, get stable, soothe your knee pain, and get back to living the healthy life that you want to live. I hope that you'll subscribe to the Healthy Knees for You videos. There's a subscribe button right around here somewhere. And you can always learn more about Healthy Knees Coach and the Healthy Knees Formula at healthykneescoach.com. Every week we'll get together and share a little more about knee information and some steps and secrets that you can have in order to start doing the right things, not the wrong things, for your knee. All right, I look forward to seeing you next week and our time together. Bye for now. Welcome to Healthy Knees for You, episode number 2, and today's topic is the likely causes of knee pain and a little bit of knee anatomy. And a little bit of knee anatomy. Oh, scratch that.